Hello everyone, Man of Interest here, and welcome to today's live stream, which is going to be pretty fun and pretty interesting. As some of you guys may know, Novel Keys has been working on some MX springs for your switches, specifically 55 gram springs, which I have right here, and these are the production springs that will be shipped out, as well as the 65 gram springs. So that's going to be pretty exciting. So the point of the stream today is we're actually going to make force curve graphs for these springs. But before we get to that, I want to get to the sponsor of this episode. Are you looking for some of the best switch lubes in the community? Go check out switchmod.net, where you can get some awesome 3203 and 205 grade 0. You should consider using my promo code or promo affiliate link at switchmod.net/MOI, where every purchase gives you 4% off and gives me a small kickback that supports my channel. Thank you so much to Krellbit, and if you guys are looking for lube, SwitchMod. They just restocked recently, but if you guys aren't in the know, it's pretty popular, so run out pretty quickly. So hop on that before they're all gone. Okay, unfortunately we won't be using any lube for today's video, but maybe we will. Maybe at the end we can do a force graph of a non-lubed and a lube switch, but the main goal is to create the force curve graphs, or at least rough cuts of the new Novel Key springs to see, is it an accurate 55 gram bottom out spring? Is it an accurate 65 gram bottom spring? And the way we're going to test that is with our control, which is going to be Cherry MX Black, the standard. The Cherry MX Black actuates at bottoms out at around 80. So that's going to be pretty cool. So I have this little testing apparatus. On this side, on its lonesome, is a stock non-lubed Cherry MX Black. Moving on, we have a Cherry MX Black with the Novel Keys 55 gram spring. And finally, at the end is the 65 gram spring. So that's going to be what we're testing today. So how are we going to be testing this? Through science. Now let's get to the rig and my top screen, where you're going to see something that looks probably really dry. It's Excel. Ooh, how exciting. So I've already done one calibration test, but I will need to recalibrate for these switches. So as you can see in the lower left corner, that's just the little area that I'll be slotting the switches for calibration. I'm going to be using a GMK row 1 escape key for my keycap that it's going to be pushing on. So let me just... So we're gonna calibrate it with the stock MX Black switch. I need to move my figs out of the way. Hold on. So this is what we're gonna be doing. I need to actually get up and align this. Hold on. Okay. So let's get started with the calibration. So I'm going to go to the LFRA and I'm going to define the tests. I'm going to open it and I'm just going to use my 4mm calibration test. Perfect. So it's just going to be one cycle. So one up, one down. It's going to start registering the data at 5 grams. It's going to be moving at a speed of 0.5 millimeters per second, I believe, and for a total of 4 millimeters of travel. So let's hit OK here. So that's going to be the parameters of the tests. And now let's just run this test. Very soon you guys will see it move and see this graph happen. This is what I do. Yep. Here we are. Oh, it's pressed. It's happening. Oh, we got some numbers on the screen. It did the touch. This is riveting keyboard content, everyone. Riveting. So on the bottom you can see the at moment the force, which is the load, the position, any given peak load. So right now this graph is load by time. We're going to change it to be load by distance. So as you can see, there's the bottom out point, and of course it does record the upstroke as well. So don't worry about these errors. This technically runs on Excel 2013, so there's always errors that pop up, but hey, yeah, do I want to save current data? I do want to save. This is going to be MX Black Calibration 1, and let's just make a new folder so I can find this for Mike later. Novel keys springs. Don't worry about all these other switches I've tested and haven't given you guys infos for. Done. Save. Sample 1. Okay. Don't worry about these errors. Like I said, it's just a part of life. Okay, and I'll show you guys real quick this graph and what this graph will look like. So we're going to load the load and distance, and this is how you might think, right? So the issue right now on why I need to do this calibration is if I go all the way to 4 millimeters, it's pushing past where it bottoms out. It looks like it's bottoming out at around 3.9, 3.91, just about. And because it's hitting this big scale, it's making the graph look really not to scale, right? It's trying to scale with this big bottom out wall. And we want to avoid that, so it's a more aesthetic looking graph. That's the plan. So we're going to rerun this with different test parameters. Now we're going to go and change that maximum travel from 4 millimeters. Let's try 3.9. So I'm going to define the test, edit it, and then I don't know why it was up there. Change it from 4 to a target value of 3.9. Okay. And then we run the test again. Yep. This is grab some fruit punch or something. We're gonna be waiting for this for a while, because once we do the actual tests, we do 5 cycles instead of 1 cycle once it's calibrated. I did the touch. Riveting. Hello, Frisco Melt. I'm happy you love this. I actually really like this too. It's just like, it's something that's kind of hard to share. I wanted to share it. Have I done drop pandas? Do you mean drop pandas or drop holy pandas? Because I was sent some drop holy pandas that I have been meaning to test. I've been sent some by one of my Discord friendos who said, "Hey, can you test these?" I'm like, "Sure." It arrived in the mail for me yesterday. Okay, so for this calibration, we've got a peak load of 78. I want to hit the bottom out, the true bottom out. So let's call this MX Black Calibration 2. This is not... Yes. Errors. Okay, so we're going to change it one more time. Maybe 2 more times. Define test. Edit. Let's try 3.9. What do you guys think? What does chat think? 3.91 to 3.92. What do you guys think the magic number is going to be? We'll probably have to end up trying both. But what do you guys think? I1A thinks it's 3.92. Byron thinks it's 3.92. I could kind of get the exact one, but because of how it records the data, it could sometimes skip. Because as you can saw from that 4 millimeters or that 3.9 millimeters, it took over 1,600 data points, which is pretty precise. We're going to do 3.92. I actually do want a small wall as well, so okay. Just run it again. Usually I do go by the numbers, but sometimes I do a little bit of a back and forth because sometimes it'll change ever so slightly. I know I have the raw data, but sometimes it changes slightly because right now it's sitting on a bed of sorbethane, and that's so the machine doesn't damage itself essentially when it pushes down onto the switch, and like it doesn't damage the switch by going too far. So that's why I have that softening pad, and that has a little bit of variance, but usually is accurate enough. So let's see how this is. It's climbing. So if you guys are actually watching the machine and watching the graph, the graph is way behind the machine. There, we got a small wall. That's what I wanted. Small wall. I don't know if it's too, it might be too small. It's only 89. But you guys can definitely see where it peaked right there. That's going to be fine. Because it's right before that point is the bottom, is the true bottom out. Before it hits the wall and it starts, you know, bending, essentially bending plastic. 1,612 readings for 3.92 millimeters of travel. That's a lot of points of data. So we're going to call this MX Black Calibration 3.92 sample 1. Okay, so we're gonna stay with the 3. Come on, stop it. 3.92. Okay, and let's look at the data real quick for the graph. Select charts, load, and distance. It's gonna look like this. That's pretty okay. Let's just delete this. Oh, this stuff I don't need. No, there we go. The markers. So basically, I'm just gonna hit up the snipping tool. I'm just gonna. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna show you guys where I'm saving these though. Novelty Springs, and this is going to be called MX Black sample graph. Oh, this is the sample graph 1. Now what we need to do is rerun this test 5 times, and this is going to be our control. So, are you guys ready for this? So now we gotta define the tests, edit. So we're going to keep the 3.92 distance, and now we're going to do 5 cycles. And this is going to give us our final result for our control group. So any small little variations as it goes up and as it goes down, as it moves, will be captured in this. Okay. Let's go. If you have any questions, let me know. Hope everyone's doing well today. We're halfway through the week. So this one really is the long one because it's going to be 5 cycles instead of 1. It's going to go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. So, not too bad. And my graph does match up with Hotaw's, which is a bottom out at about 70. His was about 76 grams for his bottom out, right before it hit the wall. Hello, Mbessa. Thank you. Yeah, haircut turned out pretty well, as you can see. So maybe in the future, maybe I have to redo the calibration and do a 3.93 because you see that first test didn't capture the wall. Didn't capture like where the plastic just stops and it just like forces it down. Let's see if it captures it on the second cycle of the graph. So if you're wondering what that vertical line upwards is, that's null data. Basically, that's when it's not registering anything more than 5 grams. And the first thing it measures again after 5 grams is that starting force needed to start it. Nope, they got the wall this time. It's really chugging it along. Look at the position, how slowly it's moving. 3.77, 76, 75, 74. And hopefully it's going to start speeding up in a little bit. I hope. Otherwise it's going to make it take forever. There we go. There we go. Did 100 byte meet ammo kill? That is a great question for Krellbit. $114. Plug harder. Hey, if you guys are buying 100 byte, switchmod.net/MOI. I don't know if it actually counts for 100 byte, but Use it for lube. It ends soon. It doesn't count. It ends the 31st. But still. It will probably make it at this point. It's pretty close. It's a historic GMK set. Historic in the sense that it was once on a board. That board is no longer produced in that colorway. But yeah, 6 kits in 2 weeks. That's the thing. It'll probably make it if it was any other sets. But this is 100 byte. Every day is an uphill battle. But I'm pretty sure the last 2 days will be like 20 in the last 2 days. Probably. So. It's a form of mind control. That's what you'll actually find in Area 51. Stashes of original 100 byte boards. Just stashes of them. Okay, so the machine is done already. Now the graph needs to catch up. So how about keyboards? Oof, 3.2K for your keyboard. I don't know, man. I've seen how good a $700 keyboard is. How much better could your 3.2K keyboard be? Does it have to replot every data point each time a new one is added? Kinda. This is really this machine still runs off a serial port. I had to get a serial port to USB adapter. Come on. And I had to buy 2 different serial port adapters because there's 2 serial port standards for these style of machines that use serial ports for scientific purposes. So I had to buy both and see which one would work. $700 keyboards are low bars lately. Yeah. I wonder if you'd reverse engineer it and run it with modern Excel. Oh, probably. Maybe. It's almost done, everyone. Look, it's gonna hit the last wall soon. Can you buy one if it works, not buy the other? Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I tried the first one and it didn't work, then I had to buy the other one. The thing is, like, it was like in the middle was like when I was moving, so like the time it took me to test the stuff was so long that like I couldn't return it by the time I got the second one that confirmed it worked, because I didn't know whether or not it was just that or if there's any other issues with like passive or active this or that about it. I don't know. The cables are weird. Went through like 2.5 cables before I found the right one to make it work, and it still only sometimes works. Like sometimes I give it a full restart or my computer a full restart for it to like actually properly work. But that's mostly Excel. Excel really doesn't like working with older Excel add-ons. A lot of newer devices still use the same serial connectors, just have the USB converter built in. That's smart. That's smart. This is not. Oh, we're almost there, guys. We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, it's generating. It's generating. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Come on. Error. Nice. Error. Nice. Come on, spinny blue. 8,072 readings. Yes. MX black 5 cycle 3.92 1 error. Yeah, here we go. All these errors. Okay, let's see how this looks like. View chart, slow distance. There we go. That's 5 overlaid on top of each other. That's MX black, and if I move this marker here, it's bottoming out at around 72 for these ones. How is it that low? Well, that's time. Where's the? Give me the load. I want the load. Oh, 77. There we go. Move it away. It tells me the load. Marker. Don't give me. Oh, load 77. So yeah, so it's bottoming around 77, 78s, which is exactly what we want, because that's MX black is around 80, and usually it's slightly under for most force graph curves that I've done. So this is on point on where it should be for this graph. So we know the distance is calibrated in. Our control group is completely fine. So I'm just gonna delete these. Come on. Come on. There we go. How do we just do? There we go. The marker. Nope. Hello, Naz. No. Try just. My monitors went black. There we go. You know what? I'm just gonna delete this legend because that makes that bigger and looks nicer. And what I'm gonna do now is snip it and save it again. MX black 5 cycle 3.92 millimeters. Final. Nah, let's through too. Save. Okay, done. Okay, now we can move on to the 55 gram novelty springs. That's gonna be the first one that we're gonna test. Let's find out if that's the case. So I'm just gonna move the apparatus. I'm gonna move the apparatus off and move the keycap over. So the first spring is 55 grams. Let's see how accurate it is to the claim on the bag. I'm gonna stand so I can see this better. Okay, everyone, here we go. What do you guys think? How on or off do you guys think this is gonna be? Let's go. Well, according to Mike, it should be plus or minus 2. So we'll see at the bottom out. The key thing is if we can get the wall, we can look at the actual data. Okay, it just made touch. So we got to see the data pouring in. So this is a 5 cycle. I'm doing a 5 cycle right off the bat. If this doesn't work out, then we have to go a little back to a 1 cycle and recalibrate. But a 5 cycle should be okay because the distance shouldn't change. We'll see. We'll see. Boom, it didn't catch the bottom out. Look at a peak load of 77? Why is it so high? Interesting. Did I put the right spring in? I could have swore I did. Confident I did. Is it centered? It's slightly off-centered, but it should be okay. I'll recenter it for the next test. Yeah, that's an interesting drop off on release. I even noted this one right here. We can examine that more closely. It's a wall. So what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to take that spring out. And I'm going to swap it with another 55-gram spring to make sure that it is a 55-gram spring. But it is not acting like a 55-gram spring. Not at all. Yeah, almost looks like a stock black spring. So maybe like my eyes just weren't paying attention when I swapped them and I didn't swap them. So after this, we're gonna. I can just hit the stop button. It's still off. Yeah, I'm gonna hit the stop button, and we're gonna. Let's not waste our time. Do I want to save the current data? No. Maybe, yeah, maybe I swap them back. Who knows? But let's find out. Regardless, I'm gonna swap it again. Swap with the spring you took out the other one. I could have, and I wasn't paying attention. You're absolutely right. Let's grab a new spring from the bag. So, everyone can witness me. Grabbing a new Springerino from the bag. I can separate them with a hand and a half. Yep, got one. Putting it in. Stem. Facing the right way. Check. Top housing. Check. What up, Dewey? Okay, does this feel lighter? Does this feel right? Okay, let me... That's centered enough. Okay, let's try this again. I was hitting the walls at the end, right? Yeah, I was, after the first test. Let go. Okay, I'm watching this real closely now. It's about to touch. It's getting closer. It did the touch. Okay, starts at around 36, 37. We're watching like this is science in action. This is like real science. Real science isn't like, you know, scientists in a lab made like I've developed the ultimate death beam to kill Godzilla 4 this time. No, it's like, oh, let's run more data tests. Let's adjust this variable slightly. I swapped the spring. Went up to 74. And it has that same down curve. That down curve didn't exist in the MX Black. It existed in the last one, but not this one. It is weirdly off. So let's go through all 5 cycles and let's look at this. This is the second spring. It could be the manufacturer just has mislabeled these springs. So, like that, the realistic possibility is maybe the manufacturer meant 55 gram actuation at 2 millimeters, and it's bottoming out at, you know, around the 75 mark. That, or like both this spring and the last spring are both, it's not plus or minus 20, it's plus 20. We haven't had a minus 20 yet. The thing is, it could slightly be higher because I haven't hit the wall for that first one. Maybe the second one doesn't hit the wall either. Then we might have to change to 3.93 instead of 3.92. Because it could technically go up to like 75, 76. I don't know. Because we're just peaking at 74 without hitting a small wall. So it's not necessarily the true bottom out or true peak force before the bottom out. So this is a bit concerning. Small wall. Especially, you guys see that decrease? Like what this thing right here? That is a big interesting thing. So realistically, you're not really gonna feel it when you type, because when your fingers leave, they just, go whoop right up. So you're not really gonna feel that realistically. What you really need to pay attention to though is the up and up. And it's slow again. Oh man. Maybe try a different switch if this one has a bent leaf. Yeah, that might be what we do next. Switch leaf looked fine to me. Yeah, at least the tests do look pretty consistent from at least the two. So the last variable, as Navelin said, would be switching out the whole switch body, because it could be the leaf is defective. Oops. Second test. Okay. I guess I can put the notes more centered so you guys can see them. It's not like a big deal. So when do I summon the blue eyes white dragon? Ooh. I don't know. Maybe after the successful raid of Area 51 when you encounter the other Hueys. I mean, what? So I'm going to prepare another housing with another 55-gram spring. So this is going to be our third supposed 55 gram spring. And if this one was a new leaf completely, still has this issue, then these springs need to be relabeled. So this is why science is important before you release products out to people. Batch 1 spring is eternally cursed. Yeah, you know all about that too. I'll save it. This is going to be NK 55 grams springs test number 2. 1. Okay. Then I'm going to view the charts. Come on. The 2mm mark is definitely just around 55 gram. So maybe Mike meant to tell me it was 55 gram actuation instead of 55 gram bottom out, but that's how the manufacturer has done it. I'm pretty sure, because Mike is in the know, that when you label springs, it's supposed to be labeled the bottom out. But we're gonna see with this last one as well. Let me just grab the snip. NK 55 gram springs test 2. Okay. Now let's try with the new switch with a different 55 gram spring to confirm our results. Okay, let's try this again. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's gonna be the same? Do you guys think we just got 2 bad springs in a row? What does chat think? Let's find out. That's Credible is right. If there's 2 bad springs and a bag full of okay springs, that's already concerning for everyone. And touch. Okay, starts at 35 just like last time. Okay, here we go. It's going. Who's best girl? Like, ever? In which sense? Okay, that's true. It is Adam. It's better if it was same versus QC issue. Mislabeled actuation weight versus bottom out weight is a lot better than deal with. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, so far the peak load is 74, just about the same. It was 75 in the last one, right? We still have that weird little thing that on the bottom out that you see of the leaf unpressing, essentially. So far looks the same. Well, let's wait for the other 4 cycles. Yeah, batch 1 cat wee wee springs are also wrong weight as well. The scary thing is, I hope Mike doesn't have more of these, because he said like, hey, these are the production ones that I was sent. Now I'm looking at these, I'm like, oh, spaghettis. So, that's why these are labeled, because he's like, hey, these are the production ones. He's like, oh, I wanted to wait for you to test these before I put them up on the store. I'm like, well, in this case, I'm gonna have some words for him later. So far, it's wrong weight but consistent as well, so that's a good sign. These are essentially 5 gram lighter than MX Black Springs, so if you liked MX Black Springs, but they're just a little bit tinier, a little bit too heavy. Just a little bit too heavy, though. Yeah, this looks like the alternative, I guess. Okay, these are here. What do you guys think the 65 gram springs are gonna lie? Hello, Heine. Good to see you, bud. Hope you're doing well. They are not like dark gray. They're silver. Both the springs are very silvery. I'm doing pretty good. We're just waiting for I'm waiting for a machine to do a thing, and make graphs and data and shit. It is how it is. Know what I'm saying? It be how it do. Super damn busy. Hope things ease up for you soon enough. I really do. Dark gray, not referring to spring color. Yeah, I mean, it's like the springs are like. Are you mean like physically how they look? They're all silvery. If that's what you mean. If that's what I1A means. Finishing the H87 proxy orders. Finally time tomorrow. Nice. Always good to get a milestone like that out of the way. Oh, referring to the linear gray and tactile gray. Yeah, it could be similar to that for the 65 gram ones. We'll see. Maybe a little brighter. Okay, now let's wait for the data to catch up to the machine. 40 orders every 2 days. Woo-wee, bud. Woo-wee. You gotta have some quick hands. You gotta be shuffling things around. Drop contacted you earlier today. Ooh. Wow. Wow. You need like drops and be like, we sold 2,000 5 milliliter containers of 3203, bud. We're gonna need that. It's gonna be like, Yeah, and 120 PCDs for novel keys. Dang. At least it's like one just big package instead of like 120 small actual box. I know they're so individually wrapped, but like at least it's not like those inside of their own separate boxes. I hope he's gonna rebox them, right? You're just gonna send him a big pallet of each of them. Yeah. that'd be torturous if it was the other way. So what's it actually measuring? So right now you can see it's measuring the load in grams, position millimeters, the current graph that you see. The graph. Don't worry about the graph because the graph is measuring load by time. When you guys look at force curve graphs, it's actually going to be load by distance. So these graphs gives us a good idea of what they'll be like, but not the true idea. So we're going to wait until this finishes and we'll look at the actual graph. And at this point, we're going to take this as test 3, which my test 3 results, I'm going to write them down as after I see it, but it looks like it's going to be conclusively, you know, it's a plus 20 gram bottom out from on the package. And for 75 gram bottom out, it's very consistent so far. Like I said, if a stock MX Black is just slightly too heavy, but you want something just a little bit lighter and more refined, this could still be a fine spring for that, since the springs I've tested are very consistent. They've all been 74.5, or the other one I think was 75, right? And between those two numbers, that's you know, plus or minus 0.5 essentially, or plus or minus 1, which is less than the 2. Mike said they would be. So at least these are only between 3 springs so far, right? I don't know if you guys actually want me to go through and test all these springs. I don't think you guys actually want to sit through that. So after this one, we're gonna go into a 65 gram one and see, and do 2 or 3 of these, and just like the 55, and see what happened. Okay. Because if these are consistent, at least you can still sell these. You just have to like get new stickers on all of them and just cover the old ones. Here comes the errors. Probably, you guys ready for these errors? The best error codes in the world, because they don't mean anything. Here we go. Excel error number 5. Invalid procedure call or argument. And another one. Bam. Do I want to save it? Yes. This is going to be NK 55 gram springs test number 3. Sample 1. Bam. Error. Same error. Got it. Alright, let's look at this graph. View charts, load and distance. Bam. Okay, so let's even pull out the other monitor. Let's just take this out. Okay. Why would you look outside yourself when you let all of the world inside? Come on. Okay, so let's look at, this is test 3, and here's test 2. Test 3 and test 2, they look pretty similar. Ah! Don't go away. Alright, well, let's snip it. Alright. Now let's go for the 63 gram one. Now just moving it to the last position. Gotta move my figure out of the way. Okay. Okay, guys, 65 gram is on the label. Let's see what the result is. I'll drink some water. Okay, any guesses on the bottom out weight? That's Krobot's guess of 83 grams for the bottom out weight. Anyone else have any guesses? So the last one was 74 grams for the bottom outs. 86 from Oxy, you think they're just completely consistent, and it's going to be exactly 10 higher at 84. Petrov at 67. Titan 721 at 80. Tommy thinks it's going to be 85. I think 84, 85 is probably like the safest guesses you can make, and probably going to be the most accurate to reality. Well, look, guys. Peak load, 88.5. Who said? Someone said 88, right? Someone said 88. Did anyone say that? No. Petrov. He's at 80. Yeah, 88. Petrov got it. So 88.5. He was after he did his redo though. Oh, right. I need to go to my notes. Results consistent plus 20 gram on bottom out compared to label. Bottom out 55 gram spring. The results actuation at approx 55 gram, bottom out at approx 74 grams. Let's put 75. Okay, so it's going to be 65 gram first tests. Same thing, plus 20 gram variation. Second tests. New spring. Most likely it's going to be the same after new spring, but we'll see. I had to think. They're labeled already too. I'm gonna get the whole team together. Get the Sharpies. Hello, Soap Boy. Probably not what you're expecting out of a keyboard stream. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't think anyone's done a stream like this. Treading new ground here. Thanks everyone for being interested enough to at least have this maybe on a different monitor on the side, alt tabbed. It is lit, Joe. It is. Hey, Dinfoil. What is this? We're making forced curve graphs. This is how they're made. In the lower left-hand corner, you can see my testing apparatus. And in the middle, you can see my Excel where I'm recording the data. I'm taking notes as well. That's with Notepad. What switches? The key things aren't the switches. Today we'll be testing the springs from novel keys. So we're using MX blacks all around. What we're doing is we're changing the springs out. Peak load went up to 89, so we were between 88 on our first one to 89 now, so it looks like it's a +2, and the final load is at averaged around 87.5. It's not pushing anything. The machine works faster than the data is being recorded, so it's going through 5 cycles up and down 5 times, and through those 5 times it takes around 8,000 points of data. So that's why it has to process those 8,000 points of data and plot them. That's why the data collection takes longer than the machine. It's not like one-to-one timing. Also because the data is traveling over serial instead of like USB or anything else modern that makes sense. It's a serial to a USB adapter. Maybe you're setting your spectrophotometer to work with your laptop for travel color measurement. Oh, interesting. Just make them Back to the Future themed springs. If they're 88 gram, call them Doc Brown springs. It's a good... Yeah, yeah. So one thing we do need to confirm is whether or not for these ones the actuation will still match up with that 65 grams. It did for the other one. We'll see whether or not these match up as well. That's the other concern and worry. So, so tinfoil, the current graph you're seeing, as you see, isn't actually a normal force curve graph because the graph is load versus time. Normally for force curve graphs, we're doing load over distance, which is, you know, the full 4 millimeters or up to 4 millimeters of travel. So this is initially how the data is recorded, but we're going to, after this is done, we're going to have it generate a graph for the load, which is the force, versus the distance instead of the time, because that's more relevant to our interests. I'm just waiting for it to finish collecting the last pieces of data. And then we're going to generate this graph. Bam. Error. Error. Nice. Yes, I want 8,067 pieces of data. Yes, I want to save it. It's going to be NK 65 grams springs test number 1. Sample 1. Error, error. Okay. Now let us view the load and the distance. Yeah, the desync is probably existing on everyone's. So around 2 millimeters, it is... Let me see, let me just make this bigger. Nope. What was that? Did not mean to do that. Well, Excel crashed, everyone. Great news. We have to do that all over again. Just kidding. I can hopefully load it. Is it okay now? Excel, please. I hate this so much. This is why it takes me so long sometimes. Okay. This is still the same graph we're looking at, right? Yep, okay. Okay. So at 2 millimeters... Okay, it's not putting the markers down anymore. That's fine. No, that's fine. Okay, so 2 millimeters, roughly 65-ish grams, yeah. Maybe a little close to 70 grams for that actuation. But we have a range between 65, I mean, yeah, actually not 70, about 64 to 65 grams, looks like right here, for the actuation. So yeah, right in the middle. So yeah, it looks like it is actuating around 65, and it's going to end up bottoming out at around 88. NK 65 grams springs test 1. Okay, let's go back to the results. Hopefully the add-on didn't crash. Oh, it did. I can't do any more tests, guys. I have to restart Excel. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna try to close it. Errors pop up. I can't even close Excel, guys. Help. Come on. Come on. Come on. Yeah, okay. I got the add-ins. These icons disappeared, but can I have access to the menu still? Hold on, let me kind of define test open 4mm. It's fine. Okay, but what we're actually gonna do is you know what? I'm just gonna run it once, just to make sure it works, without needing to restart. Come on, it's going. It's going. So this device was made in, I believe, 2009, and its retail life exists between 2009 and 2013. So it's kind of an old machine. Actually, no, this one's 2003. I forget. It's like early or mid 2000s actually. This machine. So, man, actually it's in great quality. Okay, looks like everything's mostly working. I just don't have those icons anymore, but I'll just use the manual menu. My lips are super dry because it's summer in Fresno. It's annoying. It hit the wall that time. Recalibration 65 grams spring. Okay, can I view the chart? I can view the chart. Here we go. Okay, let's see at 2mm, 63. Look, so it looks at the marker 1. I don't know why I'm trying to point in real life. Yeah, it's set at 4mm again, so I hit the wall. Look, at 2mm, the load was 63 grams. So it does look like it's actuating at around 63, which is the plus or minus 2 of the 65. And that's only for this one spring. And it's bottoming out, let's see, 88, 89, 3.98. Wow, I'm going pretty high. 3.97, 3.98, 3. Can I get more distance? Move my mouse so slightly over. Nope, 3.98, 89.5 grams. Before it goes to 4, and at that point, it doesn't even register what the load is at 3.99. So technically, I can run this all the way up to 3.98. If I do that, it's going to consistently hit that wall and make it look kind of out of scale, though. So I'm going to do 3 points. How much difference is it between... Yeah, 3.93 goes up to 83. 3.97 goes to 85. 9.8, 86. Okay, so just around 20 grams heavier as well. So let's go back to the results. Settings. Let's define my test again. Let's go back to the original settings, I guess, 3.92. Do 5 cycles. 5. 3.92. That should give us roughly the right data. So for the second test, we're going to do a new spring, same housing, and then the third test is going to be new spring, new housing. And we're going to, just to confirm, all of these are the plus 20 gram variation. That is our theory. Scientific method. Yeah! I wish more keyboard people lived in Fresno. I'd love to, like, have a keyboard intern to do this for me. Then again, the person would probably go crazy after, like, a week. Move north. Oof. Okay, let's take this, open up the switch, and put another 65-gram spring in. Hello, hello, Arctic Fox. What's going on here today? Force curve graphs. Hold on, I'm switching a spring right now, and I'll explain. Okay, I've swapped the new 65-gram spring. Yes, novelty springs. I put the keycap on the wrong way, so let's fix that. Oof. Now it's the time where everyone's got the general idea and the viewership declines. I don't blame you guys. For a lot of people, this is dull. Okay. It's fine. Okay. Now let's run this again. So, Arctic Fox, since you're newer here, just tuned in. As you can see, right now it's pushing the switch up and down. The data collection is slower than the actual machine, so that's why the machine, it's not pushing the switch right now, but the data is still coming in and it's behind it. That's a quick FYI. The next thing is the graph that's currently generating is load versus time. That's different from a normal switch curve graph, which is load versus distance, since we want to measure the force at each point within the 4 millimeters of press. So after it gets all that data, we are going to convert it into load versus distance. It is recording that data as well. As you can see on the bottom of this whole thing, it says the position in millimeters, and that keeps changing with the load at each point as well. So we're doing 5 cycles, so it's going to go up and down, down and up 5 times, and then we're going to put all that into one graph overlaid on each other, on top of each other, so we can see the thing. Yeah, it says peak load was 94.5, and that might actually be a wall. We don't know, but this is a different spring, so that could be... Let's see how the second one does. So this could be an inconsistency with the bottom out, where we might be experiencing. New spring. What was the old one? Old one was 63 gram actuation, and it was 88 gram bottom out, right? For the first test. I think it was that, yeah. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. $88, $89? That sounds right, yeah. So this one could have more variation. We don't know if it's just one spring either. That's why after this we're still going to do a third test with a third spring, as well as a new housing. A new switch for the housing. So. So one thing I've been considering is actually, you guys probably saw earlier in one of my folders, I have a lot of actually graphs I haven't released publicly, and I do at least I try to do at least one good force curve graph a week for a different switch or different Franken switch I have on me. I'm still trying to think how I'm going to release this data, either like compiled on my website with both raw data, which is, you know, the Excel, as well as pictures of the graphs. Not sure if I want to do that, or if you guys would rather just see this information in like my which switch episode, which switch series that I'm planning on bringing back. So it's gonna be one of those things where I need to think about how I'm going to implement releasing this data to people. The Hata method, giant collection of data on Plotly. That could be an option. I need Hata to actually teach me how to use Plotly, because Plotly is actually complicated for someone who does know like programming, coding, or like advanced statistical things. I'm a pretty basic, uneducated, academically person in those kind of fields. So like using Plotly isn't simple for me, and I believe I will need to have support of the community, because I believe Plotly, after a certain amount, I need to pay for. So if that's the issue, I might not go that route if I have to pay for it, unless I have, you know, enough donations and stuff come in to support that. We'll see. That is probably one of the best routes, but it does take like the most work. And the thing is, as far as I know, 99% of people who look at Hata's graphs don't really dive deep into them. Most of the time, for people who want Hata's graphs, I just hit that download PNG of that graph and I send it to someone, and they have no other questions after they see that. Which tells me like people aren't really diving into the data. They just want that shape. And like, okay, I can kind of tell that at this point it's this number here, which he does mark. So we'll see. R language or Python have very powerful graphing capabilities, but maybe for your needs, an online service best. Yeah, probably, yeah. I mean, really, like, all I'm probably doing for now is just going to be releasing the pictures of the graphs. That makes most people that's the data most people actually want. Most of these 8,000 points of data, most people don't care about. To be perfectly honest, very, very few people care about the 8,000 points of data. They care about that shape of the graph and being able to roughly tell what number the bottom out corresponds to and roughly what number the actuation or the bump correlates to. And you can see that through the picture of the graph. Not this graph, this is load versus time. But when this finishes and I generate the load versus distance, that's going to be the accurate one. Also, thanks Mex on Deck for that 21 person raid into his house. I don't know if this is more exciting of a raid, to be honest, because you guys are raiding science, and like you guys are probably talking about really exciting things before you guys are watching this, but you guys are just watching a graph generate itself. This is riveting science streaming. This is keyboard content at its apex. Oh god, this is keyboard content at its apex. What a time to be alive. Mex on Deck was interview stream with Dixie Recording, GMK8 8008, and other projects. Awesome. I will definitely want to catch the VOD once that goes up on YouTube in the near future. And my viewers as well, you know, if you guys haven't subbed to Mex on Deck on YouTube, or ever had a chance to check out their content, it's great talking heads content about keyboard topics. You guys should definitely check it out if you guys ever get a chance. I watch them pretty regularly when I can. Normally just VODs. I don't unfortunately have that much time to catch them live, but would recommend. Your wife looked over. Are you watching someone enter data into Excel? Oh my. She's not wrong. 8069. I want to record this. Yes, this is going to be record as NK65 dram springs test number 2, sample 1, error. Upgraded EVE Online, Excel in space. Okay, let's check out this load versus distance. Here we go. So yeah, we definitely have a bottom out at 93 at 3.92. It goes up to 93. That's an inconsistency. So new spring. Actuation. Actuation looks like it's slightly. Where is actuation at? It's not slightly above now. What? 68. Actuation at approx 6. No, at 68. That's the time. There's the 65. Okay. So at a distance of. Come on, 1.99. Close enough. 63. 63 gram. Approx 63 grams. 3 grams. Bottom out at approx. Oops. No. Come on, let me move my marker. $94 gram. Huey. Worried about that bottom out inconsistency. And then third tests. New spring, new housing. Okay. Let's take this off the rig. If you guys ever want me to make forced curve graphs, PM me. I'll give you a mailing address. I can send me shit and I'll measure it for you. After later this week, I have some drop holy pandas that were sent to me to measure. I didn't buy any, so this is cool. I gotta measure these. I won't do them on stream, probably not. But okay, we need to grab a new switch. New switch. Let's grab a new. Open this up and grab a new spring. Am I gonna pair them to OG/Yawk? I can just load the different data sets, and within this Excel, I can actually load multiple data sets and then have it create all the graphs on top of each other, so you guys would actually see them side by side. So this graph would be black, the next graph would be like red or green or blue. I could do that. I mean, no one's asked, but I don't put any extra work into my force curve graphs than is requested for me, because I'm not currently releasing them, because I'm working on a mechanism to release these graphs. That's why. Is it the same switch used for each set of spring samples? For test 1 and 2, yes. The same exact switch, yes. For the base switch I'm using for everything is going to be an MX black. So I'm taking apart a new MX black for test 3, and I'm going to be putting a new 65 gram spring in this one as well. Okay, I got the new spring. Okay, good to go. Okay. NK 65 gram springs, test 2. And let's do a new test now. Hopefully the last one of the night. Hopefully we don't get anything weird left. Hopefully it matches either test 1 or test 2. If it has like a third unknown result, then like basically my report's gonna be like, okay, I need to do more testing with these, but these are the most worried ones. At least for the 55 gram of the 3 springs we tested in 2 unique housings, they've been all consistent. So who'd have thought my first time streaming back in like 3 weeks would be this? I mean, that does technically exist. Hata on his Plotly has a very large database. He's a lot of vintage switches on there too, which is really interesting and cool to look at. I can link it too if you guys want the link to Hata's Plotly. I'll link it right here. Well, hold on. I do have 2 1 switches I could test. If everyone's curious and everyone wants to see Hata's Plotly, this is probably this is the biggest right now. Compendium of switches. His are like really in depth because his has like an interactive viewer, so like when you move your mouse around, the data will change. There's like a lot of like really cool stat stuff. He also has the raw data uploaded, as well as there's a button to download a raw. You can also rescale and resize his graphs through that willy-nilly as you wish, which is pretty cool. So they'll check out his Plotly. I don't think I'll do something like but can you quantify why you like something? That's kind of like the point of forced curve graphs. Like, I like this switch more than this switch. Why? It feels smoother, or I like the bump more. Well, can you quantify you liking the bump more? That's why this is important. That's why I think this is important, at least. I mean, you may not, but I do. This is my niche. I mean, because like people say like, oh, I like this bump better than that bump. I'm like, what's the difference between the bumps? Oh, this bump is sharper. Well, what do you mean the bump is sharper? What's the shape of the bump that makes it sharper? And really, when someone says they like a sharper bump, they means they like a bigger distance between the top and the bump and the bottom of the bump, which actually should be called, it's not a sharper bump. You like a steeper downhill on that bumperino. That's like, but to your fingers, it feels sharp. But of course, into a graph, you know, because that down is in a small distance, which, like I said, you feel that big change in small distance, and that the distance that travel is what creates the not simulation, but that feeling of a bump. It's not like this. It's the ramp up combined with that fall. If you didn't have that fall, you would have no bump. Right? Because think of like a physical bump. There's two sides of a physical bump. Going up the bump, going down the bump. The full experience is the bump. Right? There's no such thing as a forced ramp where you just press and you're just launched. There kind of is, but you don't really feel that as a bump because it's so gradual the whole way. You feel like you're following a path. See what I'm saying here? I'm probably talking nonsense, but it matters to me. This graph is taking forever to generate. Oh my god. The bottom out variance of these 65 grams is kind of concerning. This one's 90, we have 88, 94, and now 90 it looks like. Oh, it looks done. Nice. Thanks, Tommy. Yes, this is going to be NK 65 gram springs test number 3. Sample 1. Error. Okay, let's look at it real quick. 2 millimeters. Load was 65, so okay, that's basically spot on, I guess. Actuation at approx 65 grams. Bottom out at approx, what, 90 probably? No, don't do, what happened? Oh, it crashed again. Dang it, well, let me move the marker. Well, at least I'll take a picture of. So let's bottom out at around, does it say just shy of 90? It's like 89. It looks like only one of them actually hit 90. That's what it looks like. Looks like only one of them actually hit 90. Talisman, you're waiting for the stream in which I am connected to 1,000,000 electrodes. We see him with an immutable grin on my face while typing on the perfect keyboard. If you ever watched Community, the episode where it's like, this is, you know, the phrase, room temperature? This is that room. right? It's like that, but like keyboard, the keyboard version of that. That's why I imagine. Let's take this picture. So bottom out was just about 89. I'm gonna say it's like 88 or 89. 88 to 89 grams. With one hitting one of these cycles for the same switch hitting 90. Like I said, even among the same switch, that's why I do multiple cycles and I overlay all the cycles. Because based on this, it looks like only one of the cycles actually hit 90. The rest of them, where it's thickest, looks like it's all just right under 90. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, well, I guess that's my testing for the day. Any last things before I guess I get ready to end this stream that's probably been going on way too long. This is look, it took me an hour and 46 minutes. It's about an hour and a half. I started early, hour and a half to do 6 switch tests. Yeah, this takes time to do. And that's why like I only do like one a week, and I haven't released any of them because I need to plan out how I'm gonna release them. What are my conclusions? Let's open up my notepad. My conclusions are at least 55 grams. We have okay. So let's go over the tests for people who might have came in later on. So we started with the Novel Keys 55 grams. The first test had a plus 20 gram variation, and we were actually worried that I had the wrong spring in, so I canceled that test halfway through. So we did the second test with a confirmed correct spring. We still had a plus 20 gram variation on the bottom outs. We ran through 5 cycles. The data was inconsistent. It did actuate at 55 grams. It did actuate at 55 grams, but it bottomed out at around 75, 74-ish. So we're like, whoa, what's happening here? Maybe it's just a bad spring. So we swapped, or Nebulant suggested it might have been a bent leaf or bad leaf. So for the third test, we swapped the spring to a new spring of the 55 grams and a brand new MX black housing. We also had plus 20 grams on the bottom out. Instead of being a 55 gram bottom out, it was around 75. And it was the same thing. The actuation was at 55, actually on the dot, essentially. So for the 55 gram springs that are labeled here from Novel Keys, actuation at 55 grams and bottom out at 75 grams is pretty spot on of all 3 springs that we tested today. Our next one we tested was the Novel Keys 65 gram springs, and this is where we had a little bit more issues. Our first test came out with a 20 gram variation. We expected this. We figure, okay, they probably labeled it based on actuation instead of bottom outs. Maybe the manufacturer mistake. Maybe Mike didn't communicate it to me effectively that these are actuation and not bottom out. Or maybe I misread his DM to me about that. Who knows? But regardless, I expected 65 gram to be bottom out because that's the enthusiast industry standard. But it turns out this is closer to actuation, at least on the 55 gram. So I expected on this we would have that 20 gram variation. And we did. The first test for the 65 gram, 20 gram variation approximately, a 63 gram actuation, 88 gram bottom out. Second test, put a new spring, that same MX black housing, actuation 63 grams again. Bottom out though, increased to 94 grams. That's a big jump actually, between 88 and 64. A 5 gram difference between 2 springs of supposedly the same batch is really, really wonkers. So, third spring, new housing, actuation, still matched up at 65. The bottom out is closer to the first one, between 88 and 89 grams. So, my conclusion or takeaway from that 65 grams is I actually do want to test maybe up to 3 more to see if I can replicate with any of those that up to 94 gram bottom out, or see whether or not that was just a fluke in the recording equipment, which could happen. To be honest, it can happen. So I want to confirm whether or not that bottom out at 94 we saw was legitimate, where that spring bottom out high consistently, or it was just that one cycle that looked a bit off. So that's my big worry. And he did tell me these are the production springs available. So we will see how this will impact the manufacturing, the labeling, novel keys. So I'm going to be messaging Mike right after this, my conclusions, basically what I told you guys here. Because he said he was waiting on, you know, my information before he opened it up for sale, because he wanted to make sure they're all good. So hey, if you're ever going to be running springs or switches or anything, I can test them for you. Yeah, so good thing he ran by me before these shipped out, because they didn't. There are quite a few people who might have been a bit keen to this, because even by feel by my fingers, I can kind of tell that these are all pretty gosh darn close. I can definitely tell which ones are heavier and lighter, but if you told me like, oh, this one's supposed to be 80 gram bottom out and this one over here is supposed to be 55 gram bottom out, I'd be like, ha, ha, yeah, right. This is like, I would guess this would be like 70 gram bottom out, which is close. It's like 75. So that's manufacturing isn't always perfect, everyone. If you can get people to verify your results, that's good. You know, that's important. It's, I'll say, I mean, sure, it's tooting my own horn, but I'm very happy Mike did send this to me for testing before he launched it. Because this morning because he sent these to me 2 days. I got these 2 days ago, and this morning he was like, "Hey, have you tested them yet?" I'm like, kind of, but not really. Like, not officially. I'll test them today after work, and then I'll get you results sometime late tonight, and you can read them tomorrow morning, and then from there decide if you want to push them live on the store or not. He's like, "Oh, right." So I'm gonna be sending him my data, all the pictures I took, this little notepad. I'll write out this notepad to basically how I explain it to you guys, but to more of information that also might be pertinent to Mike. So we'll see. We'll see. I hope at least someone found this stream interesting. I know most people who watch keyboard content would prefer like a keyboard build or a talking head show, more an interview. I wanted to do this because this was different. Alternatively, you know, I asked my chat in Discord. Link down below if you're not a part of it. If you guys want to see me do the cool board, I haven't done an episode in like 3 weeks, or this, and you guys are like, no, we want to see this. We know we're going to see the cool board eventually, Huey, but we don't know if we'll ever see this again. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. This almost fell. So yeah, this is a bit new. I know it looks like some of you guys did enjoy this. I don't know if I'll be doing this more often, just because, like, oh, we'll see. I don't know. If you guys do like this, you know, consider following me so you guys get notifications when I go live, subbing, links down below to all my stuff, YouTube, Discord, you know, the huge that I gotta show. Hey, this episode was sponsored though by, not sponsored, but I am sponsored by Krellbit, switchmod.net. So if you're looking for some lube, check them out. Use my affiliate link, switchmod.net/MOI for 4% off your order, and a small kickback goes to me to help out the content I make. I also have a Patreon if you want to support me with less overhead, like with, you know, Twitch compared to Twitch. You guys know. Well, everyone, it's almost been 2 hours. It's been a lot of science. Look at, like, hour and 45. I only did like 6 switches. So slow. I did stream it though. That's about it for tonight. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I'll see you pretty soon. I have more testing, more stuff to do. If you ever want me to test any switches, PM me in Discord, and we can set something up where you can send them to me. I can do the tests. I can get you the information. That's what the machine's for. Right now, I have like 40 switches. No, not 40. Like 30 switches. I can like kind of like slowly leach out to y'all when I'm ready to. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next stream or video. Take care.